So are you guys not close? Do you guys not talk often?
We talk, but it's just like I'm his tenant and landlord situation. Like, we're cordial, but we're not like best friends or anything.
Okay. So he's technically like the landlord of the place?
Yeah, he rents out the rooms to all three of us.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I talked to him last night, and he seemed fine. He said he drank a lot, and he said he was going to stop this month.
Hello friends, it's Kody from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Saturday, April 6th, 2024. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. New interviews have been released by Flagstaff PD related to the investigation into Garrison Brown's sudden passing. The interviews were detailed in a police report that was released the day after everything happened. At the time that the police reports were released, the investigation was still ongoing. Now, the investigation has completed, and these body cam videos were released through a Freedom of Information Act that was actually made by Without a Crystal Ball the same day that the first police report was requested. These interviews have been redacted by the police department, and all sensitive information has been removed. Additionally, no sensitive interviews with anyone were provided by the department. So interviews with Janelle Brown were not included. The interviews that they had with 3 of his roommates that were living in the home were provided by Flagstaff PD and give insight into Garrison's life in the days leading up to everything that happened. Photographs obtained from the scene also were released, which included text messages that he had been sending to family members, crew members from TLC, along with text exchanges that he had with brothers and with his mom right before everything happened. What we learned is that Garrison had found an old photograph on his phone, and that this photograph had been in a group text exchange. This group text exchange included 9 people, and it was a photograph of a paintball event that included a bunch of the guys from the Sister Wives show. This was actually a part of season 10 or 11, and it was during the season that Maddie Brush Brown, or Brown Brush, got married. The guys went and played paintball. Now, photographs of this paintball event were on the TLC website, though I couldn't actually find what episode the paintball was included in. But it looked like they did this for some sort of like bachelor event for Caleb. So Caleb Brush was a part of it. Dayton Brown was in it. Kody went. Peyton was involved in it, although Peyton was not included in the text exchange with this paintball photograph. So he responded to a photograph that was shared in this group text, although in the group text that he was involved in, there was absolutely nobody else responding. He sent the text at 8:04 p.m., and by the time that Flagstaff PD came the next day at 10:38 and took a photo at 11:28 a.m., there were no responses to this text message. And then his mother, Janelle, responded to him in a separate text, and his brother Logan responded to him in a separate text. So outside of that, what we're learning from his roommates is that Garrison was dealing with alcohol use disorder, and he had become extremely dependent on alcohol, had been drinking every day. Roommates described his drinking as at times stumbling. One roommate said that he had quite a bit of shame around his drinking, and another said that he would drive Garrison to get food late at night because he wouldn't be okay to drive. I will be sharing the interviews that are with his roommates and They'll be one after another. Only one roommate was on scene. The first roommate's interview will provide some context into his issues with alcohol. The second roommate's interview will provide some context around shame that he was feeling around drinking. And then the third interview is with the one roommate that described him as a friend. And that roommate is the only roommate that references sister wives. He is also the only roommate that mentions that he had been pretty depressed lately, that he had been having some issues with his girlfriend, and that overall he had been struggling, and also acknowledged that he had made comments about wanting to end his life, but he had taken these comments as a joke. So I will share with you now the interviews from Flagstaff Police Department, which were provided through the Freedom of Information Act request. All have been redacted, blurred, and any private information provided, such as driver's license, social security numbers, phone numbers, all of that has been removed. And crying has been removed. So if there are pauses that don't make sense, that is why.
Then I heard him crying, so I checked to see what was going on, and he told me what happened, so.
I gotcha. And were you home like last night and yesterday, or?
Yeah, from probably like 7 to right now. 7 at night.
To right now? Okay.
Yeah.
They were upstairs, just to the right. Okay, and you didn't hear any gunshots or anything?
I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but I heard like a loud pop, but it didn't sound like a gunshot. So I thought just someone dropped something, because we have 3 cats and a dog also, so.
Okay. Do you know around what time you heard that?
No. I didn't even think about it until you brought up the gun part, and I was like, oh, maybe that was what it was, but I can't place it to today or yesterday, but it was within the time that I was home from yesterday to today.
Okay. And you said what was the time frame again of when you were home?
I got out of class at like 6:30, so maybe like 7 at night.
Until today?
To right now.
Alright. And so are you guys like, you guys not close? Do you guys not talk often?
We talk, but it's just like I'm his tenant and landlord situation. Like we're cordial, but we're not like best friends or anything.
Okay. So he's technically like the landlord of the place?
Yeah, he rents out the rooms to all 3 of us.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I talked to him last night, and he seemed fine. He said he drank a lot, and he said he was going to stop this month, but I didn't ask him about it or anything.
What time do you think last night you talked to
him? Maybe like 7:30. It was right after I got home. I was making dinner, and he came and made his bagel bites, and we talked in the kitchen for a little bit.
Okay, so he was making bagel bites. You chatted with him. Yeah. What did he say to you? He just said that he was going to stop drinking this month?
That was like February 29th. That was like a few days before. He was like, I'm going to stop drinking in March. And then last night, it wasn't anything amiss. It just seemed like what we normally talked about. Okay. Just like school and life and stuff. And
okay. So he did have some alcohol issues?
Yeah.
Do you know if he was going to any type of like counseling or anything for it?
No, I don't. Not that I know of. But he would like try and limit himself, like this month he was going to try and go the whole month, and then I feel like when Lent started he said he was going to give it up for Lent, but I don't think that lasted.
Okay. Anything else you can think of that would be valuable for me to know?
No, just, I mean, he drank a lot, but I've never been around like a heavy alcoholic, so I didn't know if it was super bad. Like, I'd hear him stumble sometimes, but he never like seemed too out of it. But I wasn't hanging out with him all the time,
Okay.
so I don't really know the extent of it. And I've only lived here less than a year, so
Okay.
that's as long as I've known him.
I gotcha. And where does he work at?
I think
Or does he like go to school or something?
he was enrolled in CCC in a nursing program, I think.
Okay.
And then he worked at a hospital. I'm not sure which one, but as a security guard.
Okay.
I'm not sure what hospital.
And what is your guys' other roommates? You said what was her name? Cheyenne?
Yeah, Cheyenne and Addison. I have their phone numbers too if you need them.
And what are his ties to this house? Does he rent this house or does he own it?
I was under the impression that he owned it. I think he said he bought it like when COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was talking with his brother, he said that it was under his mom's name. So I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. All right. And so were Cheyenne and Addison here yesterday?
Cheyenne, I don't think I saw. Addison was here last night. He saw me when I was going up the stairs. And then...
Is Addison a male?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Cheyenne, I can't remember if I saw her last night, but I saw her this morning making breakfast.
So she was here this morning?
Yeah, but they had bags packed and I think they left somewhere.
Addison and Cheyenne did?
Addison and her boyfriend. I'm not
Okay.
sure who that is, or what his name is, but
Okay.
they both seem normal this morning.
So the only ones that are here are you and his brother at
Yeah.
this time? Okay. Okay. And you seem kind of shaken up. Do you want any type of like victim witness services or anything to come help you?
No, I was just, it's like, I think I'm fine, I'm just taking it in, because
Okay.
I was just getting ready to go to class, and I didn't expect it, so.
I hear you.
But
And so his brother's actually the one that found him and told you about it?
I think so. I was in my room and I heard someone like crying and screaming, and I thought it was Addison because it was a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out and he told me what happened. And
Okay.
then,
And you didn't go in the room at all?
no, he told me not to. So I just
Is
got
everybody
ready to
accounted
go.
for that lives here?
No. So there's two people that live here, two other people that live here that aren't here.
Okay.
We don't know where they're at.
I texted them. I could like text them again if you guys want.
There's a door right off to the right.
That's a bedroom.
Locked.
That's Cheyenne's bedroom. She might have locked it because it looked like they were going out, like on a trip somewhere.
And her boyfriend was... So Cheyenne and her boyfriend supposedly were here this morning. Person. And not have to tell you like this over the phone.
I'm on my way to Phoenix.
Are you?
Yeah. What time? I was still awake. I don't know. It had to have been like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh my god. I heard something, and then it sounded like a pop gun. Like it was really quiet. It didn't sound like...
Like an actual like firearm.
Yeah. It didn't sound like... Yeah.
Okay. And so you were home.
I mean, it sounded like something went off, but it honestly to me sounded like a toy or like a pop gun. I didn't think anything of it. Didn't think to check on him.
I gotcha. Okay. And so
And it smelled too. It like smelled like kind of it smelled like smoky a little bit in the hallway.
okay.
Like when I had gone to the bathroom.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
What time I got home? I got off work that afternoon, early, like 1, and the police. Yeah. I got off home early from work, and it was just like I cooked like a late lunch. Rob was cooking like steaks for himself. He made himself ramen and steaks. Work last night, which was a little alarming that he hadn't left. He works at he just started as a security officer at the hospital. He does school. He's taking, like, he's in a nursing program at the school, too.
I gotcha. Okay. Were you guys pretty close, or, because I talked to your guys' other roommate, Tyler, and it seems like, it was kind of just in passing that you guys all chatted. It didn't seem like from him to Rob was very close.
From who?
Tyler, your guys' roommate?
Yeah, I would say we all knew, like, I knew Rob, yeah, mostly in passing. I mean, we would talk a little bit more in depth just about things that, just about, like, how he was struggling with drinking, and some of the shame that he held around that.
Okay.
And just, like, day-to-day, how's work going, long-term, like, summer, like, plans as far as, like, what he planned to do with his work around summer. I would say our relationship was mostly, like, in passing. We left around 9:20. My partner had a haircut appointment, so we went to Val's barbershop for the appointment, and we have a flight at 1 a.m. in Phoenix, so we're going there. He has to get fitted for a suit before. We have an appointment at 1 to get his suit fitted.
I hear you. Okay. So was he over here as well?
No.
So your partner was never over here?
He was over there this morning. I cooked breakfast. I made sausage and eggs, and he came over before we left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we try to document everyone that was in the house and stuff like that.
Okay.
At any point. So that's why I'm asking you these questions of if he was over there or whatnot. That's all. Okay. And so were you here last night? Did you stay here?
Yeah, I was dead asleep. I didn't hear any gunshots or anything, man.
I gotcha. Okay. What time around do you think you got home yesterday?
What time I got home? I can look at he has a Ring doorbell. If you can get access to that, that'll tell you the exact time, but probably around 2:30.
2:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah, I got off work a little bit early yesterday.
I gotcha. Okay. And you were here from 2:30 until you left. Did you leave this morning?
Yeah, I left this morning probably 7:30. I start my truck every morning at 7:30.
Okay. And did you see Rob at all yesterday?
Yeah, actually, yesterday morning before I left for work, he said, "How's it going?" And then when I got home, actually, we had an exchange in the kitchen. He needed a lighter. His went out, so I gave him one of my lighters.
Okay. And that was about the extent of the communication you had with him?
Probably around 3.
Okay. And that was all the communication you had with him?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
What time did he do? Was I home when he did this?
That's why I'm still trying to gather some information. I don't know. Still trying to work on that. Because
I would have heard a gunshot. Man, I'm not a very deep sleeper.
Okay. Do you know what time around you went to bed last night?
Yeah, I went to bed pretty early. I want to say maybe 10:30.
10:30. Okay.
Or actually, do you want me to look at my last text messages real quick and see when I would have went to bed?
Yeah, just a rough time, rough estimate.
Yeah, here, let me put you on speaker so I can go through my messages and stuff, okay?
Okay.
Because I remember the last person I was texting. Okay, it actually looks like I went to bed probably around midnight.
Midnight?
Yeah, that's when I said goodnight to my girlfriend.
Okay.
Alright.
And then you woke up and...
I left the house the only time I left the house after I got home from work was I went out to the parking lot and worked on my truck a little bit.
Okay. What time did you leave this morning for work?
7:30.
Okay, so you didn't hear anything last night at all?
I didn't hear any ruffling around, no gunshots or anything.
Nothing. Okay. And I mean, are you and Rob pretty close, or do you guys just kind of chat in passing?
So I've been leasing out that room for probably 3 months now. Me and him hang out quite often, man. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know?
We're not super close, but I consider him a friend.
I hear you. Do you know if he had any type of like issues going on or anything?
Yeah, man. Me and him would have some conversations. He's been pretty depressed lately, and he's an alcoholic. I can tell you that he drinks every night.
Okay. Was he intoxicated yesterday when you guys talked?
Yeah, he was.
He was?
Yeah, I mean, he always asks me for rides, Taco Bell, shit like that, late at night, because he can't drive, so I end up driving him.
I gotcha. Okay. Has he ever expressed any type of like suicidal stuff to you?
I mean, not anything that would be a red flag to me. I mean, you know how dudes joke around, oh, if this happens, I'm gonna fucking kill him as a joke, but I wouldn't think he would do it.
I hear you. Okay. All right. Anything else that you could think would be valuable for me to know?
Not off the top of my head.
No.
I mean, I know that he was going through some shit with his ex-girlfriend. I don't know. I don't know what information would help you other than, you know, he's not a very happy person and he drinks every day.
I gotcha. Okay.
I'm confused because, like, he has a good job and he's, like, working really hard in school. I don't know why he had, like, a lot of, like, fucking goals that he was working towards. I don't understand. Why would he do that?
I hear you. And so you seen him yesterday, like you said, but you didn't go in his room or anything like that?
No, everybody there usually keeps their rooms locked, and I've never been inside of his room, actually.
Okay. It seems like you guys kind of keep separated unless it's within passing.
Yeah, I kind of keep to myself living there. I'm a pretty busy guy. I'm not there super often.
I hear you. Okay. Well, do you have any other questions for me, Addison, or anything else that I can help you with?
Is there someone there to take care of his cat? He loves his cat. I don't know.
So Tyler's here. His brother is also here.
Okay.
So yeah, there's people here.
And nobody heard the gunshot?
So Cheyenne and Tyler both said they heard a pop, but it didn't sound like a gunshot.
And when was this?
Sometime around like 8:30 to 9:30ish.
This morning or last night?
Last night.
Yeah, man, I must have had my headset on playing video games, or I must have been working on my truck. I didn't hear, and sorry, I can't give you more information.
No, you're good, man. I appreciate you giving me the information that you did and chatting with me. I know it's a really tough thing. So
obviously, he's the homeowner of that house, and I'm leasing under him. What does that mean for my place of living? I know that's not super important right now, but...
No, I hear you. I don't know on that. I mean, we're obviously going to do our investigation here. We're going to collect any evidentiary stuff that we feel is necessary. And then the medical examiner will take Rob. But as far as the living situation going forward, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe get with his brother on that. Do you know his brother?
I met him in past. I know a lot about his family. He's obviously part of that whole sister wives thing. So
I gotcha.
yeah.
That's something I don't know about.
Yeah. I didn't know he was struggling this whole. But yeah, doing your investigation, I do have a dog in my room. She's non-aggressive. It's a pit non-aggressive. If you end up needing to go into my room.
From the interviews with his roommates, it seems as though he was renting out these rooms to people that were not necessarily his friends outside of that third person. The other two, the female is a coworker of Gabriel's, and the first guy, I don't know how he knew him, if he responded to an ad, but it would appear that all of them were having very busy lives and they didn't interact a whole lot and they weren't like best friends by any means. But all of them understood that he was struggling with alcohol use disorder, that he was drinking every night, and that he had shame around alcohol. The shame around alcohol, shame is a part of when someone's dealing with some sort of substance or use disorder. And, you know, the shame of what you did when you were intoxicated, the shame of, you know, not having the control that you want to have, the guilt you have around things that you might have said or done, the disappointment that you might be feeling for what everyone else is, you know, thinking of you, the fragmented relationships you have as a result of it. You can also feel shame if you grew up in a culture where drinking is taboo or considered a sin. In their world that they grew up in, alcohol is not allowed. And so he could have been experiencing shame on the level of family members not accepting him or giving him a lot more grief than he deserved, dealing with these struggles. And he clearly was dealing with some depressive thoughts and coping by using alcohol, is what it appears. I'm obviously not a psychologist. He was in the military, which could have prevented him from getting help. He might not have wanted to admit that he was dealing with these problems because he might have felt like he might lose out on his military career. He might get discharged. He might get honorably discharged if he has to go into treatment, or if he has to get help for depression, or if he has to go on to medications. They don't automatically discharge people for these issues today in the military, but some service members will not get help specifically because they don't want to get discharged and they're afraid of getting discharged. So that could have been another reason why he wasn't getting help. The one thing that I thought was heartbreaking is that their job that they're referencing is that he is working as a security guard. Sister Wives is never mentioned as a job. So he's living on bagel bites and top ramen, while Kody is out in a luxurious mansion, driving all kinds of cars, has a 4,500 square foot home, owns millions of dollars worth of property, has Rolexes and Lexuses and Mercedes, and his wife is wearing Tiffany jewelry. He's wearing David Yurman. He's the one that got all of the money from the show. And his children that have been outcast are living where he's a homeowner, but clearly he's renting because he needs to supplement the income because he likely can't afford the mortgage on his own. And so at least that's my speculation, along with the fact that I understand kids in college like ramen and eat cheap. I totally get it. It's just if you juxtapose the two against each other, Kody's wealth and the children that he's profiting off of not having that same level of wealth, it is astounding. It should be a wake-up call to Sister Wives fans to think about the disparities in the income and even consider where Janelle is at this point in time. She doesn't own any homes. And to be clear, this home is not in Janelle's name. So one of the roommates mentioned that the home was in Janelle's name. It's not. The home is in Garrison's name, and he does have a mortgage, which is through the VA, or it's a VA loan. Janelle's not on the property in any capacity. She might be at some point, but today, as it is, it's his home. Outside of that, they hear pops. Nobody thinks it's a gunshot. And some of you yesterday had questioned, was it an accident? Why wasn't the gun loaded? The police, while they were doing their investigation, they kept questioning people about how the gun got unloaded. There was a magazine sitting right next to the gun, And there was also a bunch of bullets that had not been put into the magazine, but the magazine was filled with bullets. It looked like someone saw the gun and took the magazine out just to make it, like, to make the gun safe. But nobody admitted, at least in the interviews, to doing that. So they took photographs of the firearm, and it wasn't an accident because there was a full magazine, there was a bunch of bullets, and that was kind of what the scene looked like. So this is the totality of those interviews with those 3 roommates. I, to this day, don't know where they're at and if they are still living in the home or if they had to move out. That I don't know. And all of them did seem concerned about that. And they were concerned about Garrison, but they were also concerned, like, what does this mean now that he's gone for my living? And that's a whole nother complex situation that I don't know the answer to. I also noticed that his roommate Addison made a comment about he knew about the family through the show Sister Wives, and I could tell that he had some sort of like he felt annoyed about the show, or there was some level of like disgust about the show just by his release of his sigh when he was like, well, yeah, I didn't realize he was struggling. It felt like the show also was a problem and he wasn't thrilled about his involvement. That's sort of the impression I had from those comments by his roommate. So that's all I have for now. This is the full 3 interviews. Obviously, some of it was edited, but the meat of the information that they provided is in this video. And also, before we go, just to be clear, if you or anyone you know are going through anything, if you have friends that are making comments like they want to end their lives, or they're having feelings or thoughts about ending their life, those are red flags. There are ways to help. Flagstaff has an amazing care team. So if someone's having thoughts, instead of sending police, they send a care team, which is a behavioral health group. If any one of those people could have, at some point, knowing he was struggling, done a welfare check or had him talk to someone, we don't know if the outcome could have been different. This is now, this is the hindsight is always 2020. You can't change what happened, but there was definitely warning signs. And if you know someone going through that, that's a warning sign. Don't ignore those comments. Don't be afraid to reach out to those people that are struggling. And if you need help, make sure to know that 988, the Lifeline, is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no shame in getting help. Mental illness and substance use disorder is not your fault. Diseases need treatment. And there should be no shame in knowing that you can get help. You do not have to fight this alone. Leave some comments if you have something that you would like to say. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. And thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.